Imagine this. You're standing outside, gazing up at the sky, when suddenly a figure appears, a religious symbol, a deity, or even an alien spaceship. A voice rings out, not in your ears, but in your mind, telling you that everything you thought you knew is about to change. Panic spreads. In that moment, the world seems to collapse into chaos, into something out of a science fiction novel. But what if I told you that this scenario, a massive supernatural event, isn't just science fiction, but a fabricated narrative designed to shape how you perceive reality before you experience it? What if I told you that it's part of an elaborate deception, a conspiracy about conspiracies? Tonight, we're going to unravel the layers of Project Bluebeam, a theory that has captured the imaginations of millions. But it's not just a conspiracy theory about fake religious events or alien invasions. No, it serves a more insidious purpose: to preempt and neutralize any movement, spiritual or social, that threatens the established power structures. I call Project Bluebeam the false flag of conspiracy theories, a perfect narrative planted to make us mistrust our own awakening or any real transformation. And as we dive into it tonight, you'll see why this theory is not just absurd, it's dangerous, but not in the way you might think. What is Project Bluebeam? Let's first unpack the basics. Project Bluebeam is a theory invented by Canadian journalist Serge Monast in the 1990s. According to Monast, governments, especially NASA in cooperation with global elites, are preparing to stage a massive fake event designed to deceive humanity. Using holograms, telepathic mind control, and supernatural tricks, they would make people believe in a false religious awakening or even an alien invasion. The ultimate goal: to dismantle existing religions and usher in a new world order with a single global government. Now, this theory has attracted a lot of attention because it speaks to something primal in all of us. Our fear of manipulation, our fear of the unknown, and the unsettling feeling that something isn't quite right with the world we live in. It taps into that feeling of disillusionment many people have today. But here's where things get interesting. Because what if I told you the very existence of this theory is a manipulation? Priming for an alien threat. To understand the true role of Project Bluebeam, we have to look at how governments prime populations to accept specific narratives. Let's take a step back for a moment and think about how conspiracy theories are handled at the highest levels of power, particularly around aliens and UFOs. Over the past few decades, we've seen a steady stream of leaked government documents about UFO sightings, mysterious military projects, and unexplained phenomena. We've seen the US government declassify UFO files, and although these revelations make headlines, they're often vague, incomplete, or unverified. And yet the government doesn't fully debunk these theories. They allow them to persist, to fester in the collective imagination. Why? Because they're priming us. They're normalizing the possibility of an alien threat. This steady trickle of information is a kind of psychological conditioning, where people are nudged into believing that UFOs and extraterrestrial encounters might be real, and that these phenomena might eventually pose a danger. If Project Bluebeam ever needed to be activated, if the need arose for a staged alien invasion to unify or control the public, the groundwork has already been laid. The seed of belief is already planted. This is narrative control at its finest, creating the conditions for people to accept an elaborate hoax or justify authoritarian responses in the name of protection. It's the perfect setup for manipulation on a grand scale. Preempting mass awakening and social movements. Now let's go deeper, because Project Bluebeam isn't just about faking an alien invasion or religious miracle. It's a tool for discrediting and suppressing any movement that threatens to upend the existing power structure. Let's look at spiritual traditions and religious prophecies across cultures. Whether it's Christianity's second coming, Hinduism's restoration of the Satya Yuga, or the emergence of a new age of consciousness in New Age beliefs, these traditions all point to the possibility of a mass spiritual awakening, a moment in time when humanity awakens to deeper truths, transcends materialism, and begins to dismantle the systems that control us. For those who hold power, the political, economic, and social elites, this kind of awakening is a threat. A spiritually empowered and united populace is far harder to control than one kept in fear and division. But here's the critical point. it's very likely that the people in power don't actually believe that a genuine mass awakening is possible. From their perspective, any large-scale social movement, any mass awakening, whether spiritual or secular, could easily be framed as dangerous. And Project Bluebeam offers a ready-made conspiracy to discredit those movements before they even gain momentum. Let's imagine a genuine spiritual or social transformation begins to emerge. It could be a collective uprising against corruption, a movement that challenges capitalism, or a massive wave of spiritual awakening where people begin to question the systems that govern them. Rather than respond to this transformation openly, the powers that be could point to the Project Bluebeam narrative and say, see, this isn't real, you're being manipulated by hidden forces, it's all part of the deception we warned you about. By planting the seeds of doubt, by associating mass social movements with fabricated conspiracies, those in power have a perfect excuse to crack down on any genuine attempt to challenge the system. It's not just about spiritual awakening, it's about delegitimizing any movement that seeks to change the world. Whether it's political, social, or spiritual, Project Bluebeam provides the pretext for repression. Historical parallels. This isn't a new strategy. It's a well-worn page from the playbook of power. Throughout history, those in power have often framed revolutionary movements as threats, dangerous insurrections that must be crushed. Whether it was the early Christian movement, which was eventually co-opted by the Roman Empire, or social uprisings that were branded as dangerous communism or anarchism in the 20th century, the strategy is always the same: control the narrative before the movement can take hold. By creating a fabricated conspiracy like Project Bluebeam, elites are playing the same game. They're telling the story before it happens so they can control how you interpret it. Breaking the cycle of fear. So what do we do with all this? How do we break free from the manipulation? Here's the key takeaway. The real danger isn't that some government is going to fake an alien invasion or spiritual event. The real danger is that we've been conditioned to mistrust ourselves and our own capacity for growth and change. Project Bluebeam is a distraction, a false flag designed to make us fear what could actually be the most liberating experience of our lives. It's a tool to keep us disconnected from the potential for awakening, and more importantly, to discredit and suppress any real social or spiritual movement that might challenge the power structures in place. So the next time you hear about a theory like this, one that tells you not to trust your own eyes, your own heart, your own spiritual experiences, ask yourself, who benefits from this narrative? Trust the awakening, not the fear. We live in a time of great uncertainty, but also of great possibility. The awakening of human consciousness, whether spiritual or social, is not a threat, it's an opportunity. And those who wield power know this. Don't let fear of deception keep you from trusting in the possibilities for real transformation, for real change. Project Bluebeam may be a false flag, but the truth, the real transformation, is something we have to claim for ourselves.